folks. Been long overdue for episode 14 of 7 Questions with MJ Knight, but better late than never. Notice how I'm getting all 21st century. We're actually going to do things via the phone instead of printing out on paper. Our first question is from William Jeffrey. Hello, William. Hey man, loving your question clips. Got one for you. If there was to be a Tron 3 movie, what way do you think they would approach it? And would you like Daft Punk to come back to do the score? It's a very intriguing question. I'll answer the second part. I would love Daft Punk to come back to do the score because I think they were one of the few things about Tron Legacy where they got absolutely everything perfect, down to the last detail. I mean, normally these guys just do, music, but for them to actually do a soundtrack that was very 80s sounding, and considering Tron was, at its highest, well, it's considered its best. I mean, Helsing 920 said the original Tron is a masterpiece, and I'm inclined to agree, because at that time, there was nothing like that, whereas today it's easy enough to do. It's hard to say how I think a Tron 3 would be done for, some 3 to 4 years on. I'd like to think they could try and revisit how the first movie was done in a little way, but not being an expert on how movies are written or how the screenplays are written, I wouldn't like to say, but I'd like to think somehow Kevin Flynn could be revived. And they just sort of explore the detail of how to bring him back from the digital world into the real world, for want of a better description. Hope that answers your question. This is from Firebird. If Kit from the 80s TV series and the Batmobile from the Tim Burton movie were to street race, which car do you think would win and why? This is I'm kind of torn. The Burton Mobile, as I like to affectionately call it, is one of the most badass things on 4 wheels from TV and movie cars. Whereas Kit Prime, is one of the most iconic and fastest TV cars that we know and love. If we're talking about speed, I'd say the Batmobile would have the edge because of the sheer, acceleration that thing could give. But at the same time, it has a lot more maneuverability. And while speed is important, I do think maneuverability is just as important. So I think Kit would win, but it would be by this much. Hope that answers your question. From Firebird again, what a surprise. Just to bust some chops for a little bit, what do you want to see another Call of Duty game? Having never played the first Call of Duty game, not my opinion to give on that. I'm not going to narc on a game series that I have not played and therefore have no right to give an opinion. But there have seemed to be a lot of titles in that series. But rule of thumb usually dictates if something's selling well, you keep doing it. I know it's not what you want to hear, but it's like anything. If something does good, keep doing it. Firebird again. What do I like to see the idea of a continuation to Sonic 360? No. Just no. Firebird again. How does your rating system work from highest rating to lowest again? I think this is in regards to special features. Now, the highest is a must. There's nothing bigger or greater than that. There's, dang, that was good. It's like, yeah, this is a really solid movie. You must go watch this. It's, not, at this level where it's like, oh, OMG, you must see it. Now, then you get good flick bargain down here where it's like, it's a good movie, The acting is good, everything is balanced out nicely, it's fine. Then you get loner, it's like, don't go to the flicks for this one, just get this on rental. Stay away from it means this movie is just terrible. And then there's No. It's like, you know, I'm not even going to grade this movie. It's terrible. Does not deserve any credence whatsoever. No kudos. Hope that answers your question. And this is from Duran. What is your top 10 favourite WrestleMania matches of The Undertaker and why? Top 10 favourite? You're putting me on the spot there, Mr. Garber. I would probably say the top 2 would be the encounters with the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels from Manias 25 and 26. Third would be Triple H versus The Undertaker from WrestleMania 17, which I have noticed that WWE don't acknowledge so much, which I think is a real shame, because this was an all-star classic match, just at the very height of the Attitude Era. This one, Kane versus Undertaker from Mania 20, not necessarily one of the greatest matches, but in terms of the actual energy and presence, just made this something really special to watch. Number 5... Actually, no, I'll have Randy Orton versus The Undertaker at number 4, and then Kane versus Undertaker 2 from WrestleMania 20 at 5, because Orton, Undertaker, great match. Mark Henry will be at number 10, that's just, match was awful. Bossman versus Taker at 9. I didn't think the match was all that. Number 8 would be the handicap match between Albert, who's now Tenzai, and the Big Snore. Ugh. Number 7, Triple H Undertaker 3 from Mania 20. I really thought that match was... It wasn't terrible, but nowhere near Undertaker's best. And... Good question. What next? And then I suppose Kane versus Undertaker from Mania 14. You know, to be fair, Taker's never done awful matches, but there's some where they're just not as good. And this is the final question from Duran. What Undertaker do you prefer? The one with Paul Bearer, the Deadman after getting rid of the purple clothing and just plain black, the Ministry of Darkness, the American Badass, or the Deadman Undertaker after WrestleMania 20 up to today? This is real easy to answer, because although the Undertaker's looks and, you know, evolutions and changes that he's done over the years with all these nuances that make up the character and the look, I'm going to be honest, and I know that's likely to annoy some WWE and Undertaker fans from out there, but my honest and most favoured incarnation of The Undertaker is the American Badass. For the very simple reason, it was just something fresh, it was something new that he did at the time. Now, Jim Ross has been quoted saying that The Undertaker could have stayed in its original persona and still be doing extremely well when he came back in 2000. But Taker honestly felt like he needed to make the change, he needed to evolve it a little bit, and I'm going to be honest, it just suited him. It was essentially, he was just being himself. Because you see half of these little things that he would do right, and I always thought it was so cool to come down to the ring on a motorcycle. It's like, that's really good. And it kind of sort of opened the doors a little bit for people to start coming to the ring via cars, like with the, Eddie Guerrero coming down in his lowrider and John Bradshaw Layfield coming down in his limos. Taker, he didn't really, innovate anything in regards to that, coming down the motorcycle, because Diamond Dallas Page did that at WrestleMania 7 at the Sky Dome in Toronto, Canada for, I think it was to bring Honky Tonk Man out to the stage. And as I say, it just felt right with him being the badass, and from having either Kid Rock or Limp Bizkit playing Into the Ring, what more could you ask for? Right, those are your 7 questions from the return episode, episode 14. Sorry it's been so long, but now there are only 3 ways to actually post your question to me. You can either post in the comments section below, you can post to my official Facebook page at Facebook, the.mj.knight, or you can tweet me at themjknight, or as the X24 Rider likes to say, on Twitter. But until then folks, Q&A out.